Hello and welcome to the fourth session of our Veil Inheritance game. This is a cyberpunk PBTA game and the Veil. And Inheritance is another sort of step forward module. There's also Veil Cascade. This one is kind of biopunk, a little bit more transhumanist, but also some of the feel of Cowboy Bebop, making it a little more sort of broader anime sci-fi than strictly cyberpunk. We've been playing for a few sessions. We're going to have our characters introduce themselves before we get too much further. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is part of the Gauntlet gaming community, which is an online gaming collective, collaborative. I don't know what we want to call it. It's a community. I see a lot of people talking sometimes on Twitter about, online games are terrible and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, not if you get into a community. Not if you get a community that is supportive and you know that there is regular play space and you can swap around between campaigns and meet new people and play with people all over the world like we do. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com because I'm absolutely serious. It's amazing. So we're going to start by talking to our PCs here and getting their pronouns, their identifications, who they are with their elevator pitches. Know that we have a set of safe tools that are on the table and our players can take a look at those. I'm glancing through them right now just to make sure, refresh my mind about what's on the table. Most of these things I remember. But let's actually start at the far end because I saw Ty was rubbing his eyes, so immediately we're going to have him start. Wraith, please tell us about yourself.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Wraith Ransom, the captain of the Cry Havoc, also with he, him pronouns. I am the Shepherd Playbook, which is kind of a pilot, but a big part of that is also the ability to connect with vehicles in general in a kind of a personification. Can communicate with them, can become on a personal level with vehicles. Wraith is he's an explorer. He has kind of a shady past that he's on the run from, and he has dreams of getting back out into the world and making a big difference. But at the moment, he and Cry Havoc and the crew are just trying to get that nest egg to get by.
That sounds awesome. We know that your sort of second and third tier questions are probably still the same as they were. The political situation being your highest level, and then about the people who might not believe that you were actually clipped as your mid-tier. And what do you have for your sort of, like, for this session, what's your question?
What are the cool mods to make a ship a better racer? And I'm looking forward to seeing here in this place what everybody's done with their ships to get that little extra out.
Absolutely. Okay. That's a very good idea. I'm going to wrap around to Annalise. Stephen, please tell us about your character.
Yes. So my name's Stephen. My pronouns are he, him. And today I'm playing Annalise, Ghost, who uses the pronoun she, her. Annalise is the linker playbook, which is kind of a track down other people and find them and that kind of thing. She specializes a little bit more in stealth and parkour and that kind of thing, wired synapses to be fast, that kind of thing. And her conditioning is to treat everyone and everything as transient and to look for a path that no other linker has taken. So uniqueness and transience is something that's important to her. My question for this session, my number one question is, am I angry that these thieves are stealing and selling memories?
Ooh, interesting. So you're not sure if you are upset. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's more along the lines of, they are, I see the memory churn as a part of, natural life, but are they selling them and they're out of commission? So they're not getting back into the spread of everything? Or or are they contributing to that? So it depends on
Interesting.
kind of how that flow goes.
That brings us to Vic.
Hi, I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Victoria, or Vic. She, her pronouns, most of the time it would be sort of visibly obvious if she was going after something else. She's the mirror playbook, and her whole body is laced through with bio and cyber mods that allow her to change her appearance, and not just her appearance, but even the internal makeup of her body and some of the tech inside of it sometimes. The mirror playbook is also a lot about diving into other people's mental and emotional landscapes. And Vic sort of approaches the world and life in a sort of eternal freefall. Just seeing where the next landing will happen. My conditioning statements are to become what is needed to achieve an objective and to gain insight into someone while embodying them. That's most of it. I picked up that entangle move last time, which I'm excited to again get into some really awkward and potentially uncomfortable situations with people and make them tell me things they don't want to.
And remind me how that works.
So the entangle is when I interact with someone where I reveal my true self. I can choose one. Either they are left hungry for more of my attention, or they cannot bear to be in my presence.
Excellent. Excellent. And then last but not least, Forte.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Forte, who similarly uses she, her pronouns most of the time. I am playing the Clipper. And essentially that's someone who destroys people, their data or their lives or whichever in between if she chooses to. She is an accomplished fighter, but she clearly has a background back in the day of maybe data architect, because she has a lot of control over the veil, maybe more than you would expect for a heavy role like that. So she's a weird duck, and she has some strong things that she thinks might be memories that she's always trying to figure out and understand what they mean when they pop up for her.
And what is your question for tonight?
That's a good question.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good question. You're good at these question things, Lowell. So last time it was, how does Forte deal with the non-clipping parts of the mission? So I think that one of the things is my conditioning. I took the second part of my conditioning, and it's that I will put the job ahead of everyone and everything, including myself. So I think I'm going to do is, why is completing the job so important to Forte?
Oh, interesting.
So
that certainly works.
She's trying to understand that as well.
So last time you met with Frau Laurent, discussed the outcome of your previous mission, had a chance to do some downtime activities to hell around that station. You were at Glasgow station. But after going through the list of possible jobs and narrowing it down to a couple of them you were interested in, you decided to do the job that is essentially the bounty hunting of a trio of criminals. They are the Tongal brothers, Jake, Octavian, and Mears. And their modus operandi is to join in on space races, size up the competition, and then use that as a means to target one of their fellow competitors and steal equipment, steal tech, and steal skills and memories from the racer, and then sell those on the black market. And it is known that they use variable identities to carry out their mission. They're experts at disguise, body mod, all of that kind of thing. So it's unclear exactly who or what they will look like. However, Annalise was supplied with some material from one of the brothers. Which one is unclear at this point. But this is a race that is happening at a station called Jukebox. It is in the orbit of a planet. This is, I say borderline illegal, but it's illegal what they're doing because it's outside of corporate broadcast control and gambling authorities and all of that kind of thing. And what's being done is a set of pilots are doing a run essentially on the upper atmo outside of the atmosphere through a particular course, a race from point A to point B along the path being kind of a range of space that you have to travel through, marked by beacons and buoys. To that end, Wraith has entered the Cry Havoc. You have talked to some people. You got a couple of names and some information on a couple of the racers last time. I put those NPC pictures in there. Those were Yamamaru and Baba Yun. You also got some information on Chakramaui, who is the person who is managing the races, who essentially the last one got blown up when it got raided, and like a lot is riding on this one going off successfully. That is sort of the B plot, is there is a possibility that there may be an informant, or there may be people who are paranoid about an informant being at the race. So keep in mind that as a secondary thing. But I guess my question is, are all of you going in as sort of Wraith's team, or are you going in separately and individually? How do you want to play this? When you arrive on station, what affiliation do you want to have? Wraith, do you have suggestions about that?
I do want to say, because we have a little tiny bit of time, like a day or two beforehand, is that right?
Yeah.
Then I'd love to hear what everybody thinks of the plan, but I would love to engage the strategize as part of this day or two that we have, so that we can kind of, Ocean's 11 ourselves to the plan going in and have that benefit of the hold. Absolutely.
So the strategize move, which is one that is often forgotten about, when you prepare a day or two, take one preparation. When you enact your stratagem, any of you may use your preparation to take a maximum of +1 forward on any roll when carrying out your plan. That means all of you get one preparation.
So, what do we think? Obviously
that scene. Yeah, what does that scene look like here?
Yeah, I think we're all, in the Cry Havoc. We got laid out maybe like the map where we've gotten the course, what it's gonna be. Maybe got our list of people. I know that Vic has been trying to find out some of the racers and get some names. So this is the beginning of us putting these things together. And obviously, I'm going to be racing. I'll be piloting. it's, we know they jump out and attack the winner, and I mean, obviously that's gotta be me. So the question, I guess, is who wants to be on the ship with me, or does anybody want to be on the ship with me?
Well, you need to consider who it is that's going to be helpful to you in the time of the racing. But we don't want to look like we're a team too much, because that means they might just take the second placer and pull him off or hit him at a buoy if you look too strong. So we are going to have to split up and be a little like we don't know each other. I think four people might be too much for him.
I was thinking that. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, Annalise will probably hide out and try to be as unobtrusive. So I could potentially be on the ship, and it would look like Rafe was on his own.
I was thinking I might serve better working my way in with the crowd. Something. Well, not nondescript, certainly, but innocent and just another racing fan showing up, flashing some wealth and trying to be a part of the fun.
Right.
I will, Annalise, I know that you're going to be you've got a piece of one of them. Do you think being with me is going to help with your tracking, or?
So I think, so there's two pieces that I have. One is I have a piece of one of these guys, so I think it would be help identifying them. The second thing that I have is I have a stolen memory from a previous racer, and I'll need probably Vic or Forte's help to try and find out where this is coming from, or maybe insert this into Rafe so that he can get some of these racing skills from this previous racer. But really, I got it mainly for tracking down and finding out, seeing if I could find other copies of this memory.
Interesting.
You think they're making copies?
Well, I meant this is probably a piece of a whole. I don't think they're making copies, but looking for other.
Yeah, they're doing the worst thing possible, which is they're taking it to a cutter who is slicing it into bits. And what they can't be reconstructed once that's done. And essentially taking out the discrete things. They're not really as effective cut up like that, but they can give you a boost.
Forte, I mean, clearly you're our strongest combatant. Do you think being on the ship with me is the best place? Or do you think maybe following in your own ship?
My own ship is not going to be as fast as Cry Havoc. And I don't think that we actually get the route itself. Do we?
You'll be given the route essentially about 30 minutes before the race starts.
So that would mean that there's got to be, like, if they're doing the jump at the end, they must get the end of the race and then start heading towards there to set up their ambush then.
Yeah, we've gotten a clue that some of them set up at the buoy while one of them is in the race.
Yeah, so the buoy that marks the win or previous in the fight is?
I think it's right there at the end.
It sort of said the last leg.
Last leg. Okay, so maybe the one right before. Okay. So the leader at that point going into that first part, or at the actual end of the race?
The leader going into that part.
Okay, so it's actually before you win. So here's the problem. If we're going to fight these guys, you're not going to be able to win, Rafe. Are you okay with that?
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I'll know that we could have won. That's the important thing.
All right.
And I think Cry Havoc through your link probably says, I don't think there's any reason why we can't do this and win, Wraith.
I don't. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Tell you what, maybe I will take my ship. Since we have that chance to get out to that buoy, it'll give me a chance to take a little look around while you're doing the meat of the race. I might even get a jump on him.
I mean, Lowell, we know there have been other races. Can we go back and see the courses that have previous? Do they tend to come back to Jukebox at the finale?
They tend to end not by Jukebox because there's a lot of Atmo burn off to bleed energy. So it's a fair distance away from the station, but it'll essentially, it is like a curved course. It comes back towards.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So Annalise, you're going to be with me. Forte, you're going to be out there at your ship to provide cab support. And Vic, you're going to be amongst the crowd to try and make sure you can give us information as we go. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah.
So what I see then is we've got sort of 3 arrivals. Essentially, Cry Havoc carrying Annalise, and then the Cydonia with Vic, and the waterproof with Forte come sailing up. And this is a big old junker station. It was for alternate purposes originally, and essentially it was for the original sort of perspective terraforming of another planet system that didn't work out. And then it got changed into some luxury suites, and then it got changed into some other stuff. And then it got dragged here and set up as an orbital station around this gas giant. And the upper atmosphere here is that kind of chaotic storm, Jupiter-like atmosphere. And Jukebox is kind of over that. And you can see off in the distance what do you call it? An asteroid belt, which is kind of thin and then gets thicker until you can see that there's half a moon that is kind of hanging in the atmosphere, that it has kind of still got an orbit. It's like in a slow decaying orbit to crash down to the planet, but it's gotten torn up as it's been falling. And you know that a good chunk of the race is going to go in and around that, because you've got both the question of the debris fields, but also there's a weird set of gravity wells happening in that area. And so pilots have to deal with that. We described that Jukebox has that look to it. I think Patrick added this, that it looks like a kind of a jukebox place. And we come on that sort of main deck area. People have arrived. Sort of what we'll call up station is the where the ships are docked and where the racers are getting prepared. There's mid station, which is all the hotel and entertainment and all of that kind of thing. And then down station is like all of the engineering things and systems and all of that. So you all would arrive at essentially up station and then head down to the middle. Now, Annalise, do you plan on staying on the ship for the time before the race? Or are you wandering with Wraith and then kind of vanishing? What do you think?
What I think I'm doing is I'm probably entering the Veil as kind of a ghost in order to try to do my tracking move, my trace move,
Okay.
and see if I can't find some kind of link to these guys, see where they're coming from, that kind of thing.
Okay. So you will arrive. We'll come back to that role in a second. Wraith, when you arrive there, Chakramu Maui is there. He's got some associates with him, handlers and things like that. They've got an engineering team there. And Chakramu comes, hey, hello.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, no. Pleasure is mine, all mine here. It's good to have a fifth wheel in this space race. It was unexpected. That gets a little more excitement on the table. Very, very glad to have you joining us. Wraith, was it?
Rafe Ransom and the Cry Havoc.
Good name. It's a very good name for a ship. So I see that you don't have a full like race team.
Cry and I tend to just work as a duo.
So if you do need it, we do have a pit team that is here if you need us to do checkovers or anything like that.
I appreciate that very much.
And he kind of leans and he goes, if you have to do that, come to me. I don't want any shenanigans. La.
I hear you. I hear you.
So we're going to be racing. Let's see. And he kind of looks up and you see they've got like a little like sun clock. So it's like 2 p.m. here, in local time on calendar standard day. And he says, so we're going to start mid-morning tomorrow.
Right.
We have a reception tonight with all the racers. And there are some VIPs who are going to be here. So if you come and glad hand, that will pay for meal, all of that comped, very, very comped. Yeah.
Well, definitely. Yes, I always enjoy meeting thieves with an open bar.
Yes. You drink. It's all good. Yes. We might have you. We've got a hot interview guy that we brought in. He's been biosculpted to appeal to the broadest demographic. And he might come in and ask you, and you might do some sheet talking, before the race.
Of course, yes. Standard racing.
Stop. Yes. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's have Benny here is going to take you to your rooms, get you all set up. Okay.
And I assume there's security for the ships.
Oh yes. And it looks like he's got sort of a combo of like automated security and then a couple of dudes who come in and watch the ship. And he goes, and he'll get you the comm thing so that you can this is where the cameras are, so you can be monitoring the ship and all of that.
All right. And before I go, I'll kind of beam over to, or link with Cry and tell me if anything strange happens. I'll be here in a second.
Gotcha. It Cries like, I might check out the competition.
All right, but don't cause any trouble.
Me?
I know. You're the image of innocence, my dear.
I am. I have no concept of sin, so truly I am innocent. Let's come to Vic. You arrive with the group of the attendees You have your invitation there. And
I've got the Cydonia. It's, you know, that like sort of space muscle car painted in Lisa Frank sunset colors. And I'm definitely like driving up, engines blasting, to the most conspicuous place I can get out and be seen by the most people.
Absolutely, you will unload, and essentially you make that gesture that says that I'm not just here to walk. Where's the concierge? And you know, immediately there's a person who runs away. How can I help you, ma'am? Let me, if I may see your ticket, we'll get you set up on where you need to be at in the thing. We'll get all set up. And here, a complimentary drink coupon and some complimentary betting tokens for the casino.
Yes, and she sort of just languidly like waves her ticket at him and takes the drink and pockets the. I mean, it's gauche, but they're free tokens.
They're free tokens.
And I think she's wearing this like clear plastic sort of shaped and tailored jacket. But as the like attendant comes running up, it starts being populated with all these images of his face in like these different emotional extremes, like screaming in anger, crying, or like laughing manically. And as she moves like further on and into the crowd, it starts being populated with like all these different people's faces just sort of swarming all over her.
And as you move along and are kind of making a scene, and people, you are seeing and being seen as you do, you will see the crowd kind of part sort of in parallel with you, and you will see this woman walking along, and she has a group of corporate drones behind her, like clearly checking their data pads and giving her information and things like that. And she is walking on, and people are giving her a very, very wide berth there. And you will kind of pull up the thing, and you will see that her name is Dame Sosito.
I think Vic
she is a CEO administrator for Romero's family. And also a inveterate bettor.
And I think like she'll sort of pause in her strut through the crowd, and you see the like HUD image come up in her eyesight that lists out the data about her, and then she'll just turn and like start making a beeline for her. Sosito, Dame Sosito, oh, it's so good to see you again.
She looks, you see that her people like look at you, and she clearly has back-ended like people recognition to one of her drones, and he's like running through all the facial recognition and image things, and she looks at you, and she like clearly they desperately grab onto the hotel manifest, and she goes, Victoria.
So wonderful to see you again. Isn't it exciting? A new day, a new race. Oh, I can just feel the energy in my blood.
I do enjoy a race, she says, kind of non-committally, but she's clearly put you into the box of people that she's met at these races and don't really remember. So, yes. Are you here just to bet or other entertainments?
Just to bet. It's a whole event. There's a smorgasbord of experiences and people to take in. You know, the beautiful people, the important people, she says, looking anywhere except at the dame's attendees, like following along behind her.
Well, perhaps tonight at the reception, we can talk about your perspectives on the betting.
Yes, and I would love to hear how and why, when you got drawn into this world to become such an important figure in the racing scene. I'm dying to know, just dying.
And it's good to see you again as well.
Lovely, lovely. We will have to catch up. Drinks
Yes.
later? Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Note that. Okay. And people are like trying, and you can tell that she's berating them over their veil comms. I need more information. Who was that? Somebody's falling down on the job here. So they're probably going to try and figure out who you are. However, I say you're a mirror, so I think finding that out is going to be a more difficult job. So until you make a pain of yourself, their queries are not going to be super deep. Sound reasonable?
Oh, definitely. And, if they do come up with anything, I'd be thrilled to read it because I'm also quite curious about who I am.
Exactly. But let us come then to Forte. You arrive in your little vessel.
Yeah. And it's a strange little Swiss Army knife of a ship. It's just what do you say? It's clearly made to be able to dock anywhere on anything and create mobility. So it's a real utility vehicle in a lot of ways. Like completely the opposite of Vic's car.
So you get into the stream of people who are here to watch the race, but also gamble at the casino, because this is off corporate books. The payouts are a little bit better, supposedly. So they're here. They've paid some money to have this opportunity, but they're at the sort of the bottom rungs of people. And of course, there are workers who are arriving to see sort of mix in amongst that crowd there.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
And what are you looking for?
I think that the thing that she's first looking for is because it's the pilots that are out there, that she just wants to get a little look at them and maybe have a word. Not a lot, but just so she can maybe figure out if any of them are, how should we say, a modified one of the brothers.
So I think one of the things would be is that you can tell that of the pilots, 4 of the 5 have arrived and kind of come down through that way, including Wraith. But you will see kind of slipping in amongst the people here. You will see Baba Yun, duffel bag over his shoulder, moving, kind of keeping his head down and slipping in. You'd heard that maybe he was like somebody was supplying a ship, and he's doing the racing in someone else's ship. He's come out of retirement. Retirement.
Yeah, retirement. Okay. Well, then that's a good chance to catch him, and that's easy to do. She just has a ticket that has his name on it. And I think she kind of comes up, she goes, Bobby, you?
He kind of looks at you like he's surprised, and he's like, yeah. Who's asking?
And yeah. And
doesn't help me.
I don't know if you'll help me. And she has a ticket. She goes, I just wanted to get a feel for if you got the win in you today.
Oh, yeah, I got the win. Now, if you'll, and he kind of starts to move to kind of go past you, like now he's maybe a little bit irritated.
And she kind of goes, so you'd say you're up to Bobby Yun's, let's see, peak, I guess. Yeah, she would. Top of your game.
He pauses and he says, I've got the goods for what's coming.
So I have a question. I have a thing, a move. My probe is that I can tell if someone is who they say they are.
Let's have you make that roll for me.
I don't even know if there is a roll for it. Well, I got to make a probe roll, right?
That you do.
Okay. Let's
So,
see.
by the way, I do want to point out for those of you at home, if anyone is actually watching this, I'd like to show you something here before we go too much further. Just so you know, I want to point out here, as we look at everyone's character sheet here, we go up. Let's look here. Ooh, Annalise, look a little bit on fear, a little bit of joy, peace. Ooh, get to Victoria. Ooh, peace is up there. Joy, fear. Come over here to Wraith. A little bit mad, a little bit of fear, joy, power. Please note Forte's rolling thing because Sherry has played the Veil before.
No,
Several
that's not
times
it.
she has carefully maneuvered herself to be clean like a newborn baby.
I've only made like 4 rolls, so
Okay.
it's not a big deal.
Fair enough.
So yeah, and I think that this is probably actually fear for Rafe. Rafe
Okay.
was behind all of this, so I think that is the thing to do it, even though she won't let any of that go.
Like high anxiety or a little low level anxiety. What do you think? How strong do you think that is?
It is. It's that feeling that if she can't figure out part of this, she's leaving Rafe hanging.
Okay. Yeah.
And Rafe is really the only one that makes Cry Havoc act nice to.
Let's have you make that roll.
All right. I don't like this part. Let's see here. Good. I found the rolling thing out. So 2d6, and I'm going to add 2, I think, right?
For fear is +1.
Oh, good. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so so 7.
A 7. So you have 1 hold.
Oh, awesome. So I think I get the probe that effect. I don't know if it uses one of my
Let's take
abilities.
a look at
Let's read it together carefully. So waking life, when you probe someone, you always know if they are who they say they are, whether they're aware of it or not.
He's not the man he says he is. And now your probe question?
Yeah. Let's see, how could I get him to slip up and reveal, I guess.
He's under a lot of pressure. It's part of the reason he came in the way he did. He clearly didn't want the attention and things like that. And you think poking over time will crack that shell. It's really more Vic's area, but you can do it too.
Yeah, I can.
Does that seem like a fair answer?
And when you say he's not the man, so okay. Sure. That sounds like a great answer.
Okay.
So I got a maybe in the Bobby Young category. Come back around.
Annalise, are you parking yourself on the ship, or are you coming out? Are you waiting there and hitting the veil from there?
So I think I'm in the ship and I'm hitting the veil from there, and I think I'm like in a secret compartment or something like that. And I think what we see on screen is kind of the we see the trope of the screen kind of reflecting off my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of close my eyes, and I'm basically a ghost then through the veil, zipping out in the different pieces that we've seen. So I think we see Rafe as he's walking down a hallway, and Annalise is part of the fluorescent tubing and the little ghost that flits out of there, and then we see a little bit of a little, flick as I come out, and I'm basically looking to see if I can find any senses of these brothers that we're looking for.
And I think the veil here is very patchworky. It's kind of overclocked to get it to work because it's not on the system AI's veil. I mean, this is off the grid effectively, and it's a weird movement of signals good, low res. The signals good as you kind of zip through here. Let's have you go ahead and make the roll for that move.
For the tracer move, I'm going to roll that with power, because that's kind of what I do.
Sure.
And let's see what that looks like. I rolled a 10 and power is 2, so that's a 12.
Okay, so you've got all 3.
Okay, that is discern the next step in the path. I don't take one of the following negative tags, and I get +1 ongoing regarding the pursuit of the target.
Okay.
In addition, just to point out, I have a new move called the Road. When I'm in the pursuit of something I have traced, I can treat the path to get there as a situation or place for the analyze move.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that you will kind of run through the lines there, and eventually that trace that you have will land you in the entourage of someone, and it takes you a second. There's a group of people there, and they, when I say entourage, I mean literally like this is a bro group. They're taking testosterone shots and hyper masculine. They're body modded up and stuff, and they are the group that seems to be following another one of these high rollers, who calls himself Wagerman. This trace that you match, the biosignals, the things like that, all of the sniffers, all of that match to this guy who's calling himself Jimmy. Who's one of these 4 entourage guys. He's big on high fives. Like he's always going in for high fives, and particularly because he's kind of big, like doing that to intimidate smaller people and stuff. But it's all very calculated. You can see how much this is an act. You can see how much this is being done to blend in with this group. You suspect that Jimmy is probably someone that is sort of at the outer circles of Wagerman's people, and one of the brothers has dropped and duplicated him. And because Jimmy is not too deep, pretty easy to do. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Oh yeah, that seems perfect.
Okay. Let's take our first break. Let's take 10 for this. We'll take 5 for the next one. So we'll go to 10 after, and then we'll come back. Okay. So, Wraith. Actually, Vic, I assume you're going to set up a room that's been your SOP or your SOP for the group to communicate across the station.
Probably not long term,
Okay.
just because it takes constant concentration to set up a room for the
So
group.
yeah, you guys can work through standard comms then.
If we, we can have a signal or something that like we need to talk privately, but I probably wouldn't have it up all.
Okay. So you get a little very basic on the station systems and your comms VR chat to talk about next stages. So that will pop up. Wraith, I start with you because you're the captain of ship. What are you telling your coworkers about what you want to do?
Well, I'll let folks know there's going to be this reception where where the racers and everybody's going to be getting together and a little press in the flesh. I intend to look over the folks. I'm guessing that any of y'all who wanted to can be there. Other than that, I do plan to walk by and at least look at the other ships. I don't think that I'll be able to get close. There is security, and I certainly don't want to try and pry into that. How's things going with y'all?
So I let them know. I basically tell everyone that I found a connection. One of the brothers probably has infiltrated the Wagerman's entourage. And the one that pinged for me was this low-level mook called Jimmy, who's just annoying. But he's the one you should keep an eye out for, because I think Jimmy has been replaced.
So, are we gonna do Vic copies Jimmy, picks up whatever intel Jimmy was supposed to get some sense of how they're communicating back and forth, and then we clip Jimmy?
I could. You sense a little like disappointment in Vic's voice as she's downing another glass of champagne.
I mean, that'd be standard operating procedure, right?
Well, if these guys are pros, they'll figure out pretty quick that Jimmy's been clipped. Like the copy Jimmy has been clipped, and we don't want to tip our hand too early. We might want to watch.
And Jimmy was one of the people with the
Wagerman.
With what?
With the Wagerman.
Right. With the guy that's running Jukebox. No. Oh, okay.
It's one of the people who does gambling.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are 3 high rollers. He's the second of the high rollers that you've seen.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Well, that is worrisome, but I wonder if that has anything to do with our particular mission.
He's scouting. Yeah. He's scouting. He's the one that's picking the target. He's giving them the information. At least that's what he'd be doing if he were my mook.
You're not sure which of the brothers he is, but he's definitely one of them on station.
Vic, how much are you able to pull should you duplicate someone?
It's not mind reading, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
So, if you copy their gear, do you also copy the, how should we say, their encryption, their presets?
Whatever they're set to at the moment.
So, you'd be getting the messaging.
That might be helpful.
Another picture of Jimmy pops up. He's showing some lady asked about tickets to the Blaster show kind of thing.
Oh, Lord.
Good luck for you, Vic.
Let me see if I can manage to track down the Wagerman's entourage.
So what's the plan? Are we gonna, are you looking to? So obviously, Wraith, you're gonna hit the big party.
Hmm.
How about you, Forte?
I think Baba June isn't the old Baba June, but I don't know if it's just that he's been banged up really bad or that he's someone else with part of his memories or something. I don't know. But he doesn't feel like himself. Let's put it that way.
Oh.
And then she sort of stops and goes, if we could just figure out what they're setting up, who their target is. I mean, you don't have to be Jimmy.
Do they know who their target is until the race is underway? Don't they grab the winner?
I mean, they're grabbing the winner, but I think they're grabbing intel about people.
Yeah.
There's only
and
5
whether it's
of
worth
us.
it, because they're not going to go after someone who has a machine.
If it's just 5, I mean, let's be honest. One of them, and normally it's 4. I seem to be laid out on it a surprise. So that means there were only 3 targets they were looking at to begin with.
4.
Well, one of them's them.
Is it one of the pilots is them, or is it that
One
they
of the-
hide out by the boys?
Standard operating procedure is one brother comes
Oh,
undercover as a pilot, other 2 go in other ways.
okay.
Like the thing that has happened that'll happen at the last one is as they got to that last leg, they bumped the ship in the lead and kind of knocked them both off path. Everybody else went on, and they did the hit during that.
So do we know which pilot that one was? Like, I guess if we go back and look through records of that stuff, do they have, how should we say, an MO? Are they always kind of jerk pilots?
They were essentially came in as another pilot.
New guy?
No, like an established guy, and they had some of the mannerisms and MO, so they clearly do a little bit of legwork at least to get that set.
Well, whoa.
Yeah.
Are these things filmed? I mean, is there because it's an event. Do they kind of keep a running thing so people can look at it? And
you mean the
race?
Do you watching past events or watching present events?
Past events.
Past events. Yeah. The problem is because of the nature of these things, they can really only get like highlight films in certain spots.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if I can access that and maybe probe a couple of these races so that I could see if I notice something similar about how the racer races. I mean, there's certain tells in how you pilot.
Oh, okay. That seems reasonable to me. Let's not do that roll now.
That's fine.
But let's do it once you get a chance to see them in action. You will say that you've built up that fiction that you can make that roll.
Okay.
So that's what you're spending essentially the time before the reception is you're running those things.
Yeah, I'll let folks know. I'm going to study up on what these past races. Maybe I can get an idea of what they're like and give us a little clue earlier in the race.
Maybe I cut forward to the reception.
So who else going to the reception? Vic, are you going?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yes, of course. And Forte?
It would be an easy place to see people. She'll probably put a skanky little dress on, look like she's a hanger-on. Not classy like Vic, more like, someone has
cocktail waitress kind of.
Yeah, but she got some money, like birthday money, and she's come to
make some
lay
bets.
a bet on it. Yeah, exactly. It's her lucky race.
So I think in that case, Annalise is going to slip out of the Cry Havoc.
Uh-huh.
and I want to be on hand nearby, like not at the reception, but close by to see if, shit hits the fan or someone leaves early or something like that, just kind of casing the reception.
That seems fair. So we'll have all four of you on site. I don't think there's a role to slip out. You are a ghost effectively, and so you can maneuver your way down into there. So the reception is done in a big hall. There's an open bar. There's a buffet, as Chakra Maui calls it, and there are anamorphic ice sculptures that are kind of changing shape in the middle and moving through, kind of freezing and refreezing, like it's almost sort of 3D printing things there. There's the house band that's playing essentially like cyberpunk ragtime, if you can imagine that. It's not great, and people are moving around, depending on sort of the tier that you've come in at. You get different levels of meal tickets and things like that for the different sections of the buffet. Your host, your purchaser, Frau Laurent, clearly didn't want to have any chance that you would starve, so bought you the high-end food tickets. So you have access to the entire range of the buffet.
And that's how you know it's the cocktail waitress's birthday, right? Because she's got these high-end food tickets.
So let's start with Vic. Vic, I assume you make an entrance.
Oh, yes. I mean, obviously.
Tell us about this entrance. What does Vic do? What does she do?
I think Vic comes in and she's got that same jacket on that's like reflecting the crowd around her in these emotional extremes. But she waits until she catches sight of Wagerman and his entourage, until she can see that like Jimmy happens to be glancing her way, where she'll take off the jacket and sort of just languidly shrug it at a passing waiter. And underneath is this like hologrammed out full length like ball gown sort of slinky dress that just has these like flames coming up out of it, like she's walking through the crowd on fire. And I would very much like to catch Jimmy's attention and keep Wagerman or anybody that Jimmy might be talking to excluded out of this.
Absolutely. And I don't think, is that one you have to roll for?
No, that one's not a roll.
Okay. Yeah. So he kind of like jaw kind of drops open. And, he did not look like he had a particularly high IQ before, and it seems to have dropped, several points. And he kind of drifts over to where you're at. How you doing?
It's just this like slight tightening of the jaw muscles where her face goes back to smiling. Well, I could tell you, but I just feel so parched. Is there anywhere that a person can get a drink around here?
Yeah. There's an open bar here. Yeah. What can I get you?
And she'll like a Nebula cocktail sounds delightful.
Nebula cocktail. One Nebula cocktail coming up for the pretty lady on fire. and he goes over and goes and gets a Nebula cocktail. You can see him like, yeah, he does the thing where he talks to the bartender, like, yeah, like double up the alcohol for a drink, that kind of thing. He's a total scumbag. Just want to make that absolutely clear.
No, I was picking up on your very subtle
subtle
hints.
He comes back with a microbrew. And if you can imagine what the microbrewery on a place like this is like, it's they make it particularly dark, but that's mostly to hide the problems with it. So he's like, here's your Nebula cocktail, and for
Victoria, so lovely to meet you.
Victoria, my name is Jimmy.
She waits for the little bit. No, oh, that's all? Okay. She says, so tell me, Jimmy, everyone here seems either the stuffy rich kind who are just here to see if they can increase their portfolios, or the pathetic begging kind who just seem to be hanging on after them. What's an adventure boy like you doing in the middle of this crowd?
All right. So I feel like we're working a little bit of a probe here, or maybe a sway. What are we doing here? What's your angle? Because while I could do Jimmy's voice all day, it would get tiresome.
Motivation somewhere. I'm just looking through the options on the moves to see sort of what I want to go for. I want to go with the sway.
Okay.
I want to.
There's also look at divert too, because divert allows you to glean flaws and weaknesses, create opportunities for other people as well. You might consider that.
I think I can handle more of that angle with my playbook moves.
Okay.
When I need to, I want to press him for a little first.
Absolutely. Then what do you want to roll this with? Let's see. What is discussed?
But I'm sort of going with the. It's sort of between sad and power. Let me think about that for a sec. But I'm sort of going on the angle of what I'm pushing on here with this sway is I want to present myself as I've picked up some of the lingo and I know a couple of words, but I obviously don't know the deep ends of all of this racing and betting stuff. But I want to get him to explain to me the intricacies of the racers and who's definitely going to come out on top and where my money should be going.
He would love to explain to you things that you obviously already know. This is like his bread and butter, and especially his opinions. So yeah, let's have you roll.
I think this is going to be power, just because I feel like he seems a little distractible, at the very least distracted by me. So I'm trying to handle him and keep him on topic, basically. That's one of these buttons. It's you button. Oh, okay, that's 7. It's still a 7.
That is a 7. Choose 2.
I can play this in together. Yeah. I'm gonna need to spread out some cred. I think I'm gonna end up paying for the date sort of thing tonight.
The kind of way where you you go to the casino tables and oh, here I'll make the bet for you kind of thing.
Yeah. and I need to give a piece of myself to them. Body or heart?
Oh, I think he just needs you to be on his arm and to be beautiful and to be obviously with him.
And I think I'll say to him in sort of a candid thing, like in between one of the rounds of betting, and lean in and say, can I share something with you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
You know, I like to go into situations seeming like I have expertise and control over the situation, but really, I've never been to one of these races before. I don't actually know the culture and what's going on. I mean, sure, I've looked up some of the racers and their recent stats, but it's all a little confusing. Do you think, could you tell me who the best ones are? Could you tell me how I should bet on the race tomorrow?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm pushing on that entangle where he is just like slavering to be around me at this point. And also trying to get a truth about his opinion on who he thinks is going to win, who's the smart money to bet on.
I think that you will get sort of two things out of that conversation besides the entanglement. One is that he suspects that Strauss is the guy. That Strauss is the one who's going to win. Like that's the one he has, you know. That's the horse that he's backing, as it were. The other thing you'll get a sense of is there's probably at least at one moment through the course of this when he does kind of stop to kind of break off, and he's doing that thing where he's having a subdermal communication clearly with somebody, and you get the sense that, I mean, you can pick up from body language that somebody's saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's saying, "Chill out, bro." And you don't tell me to chill out. And that goes back and forth for a while before Jimmy kind of cuts the comm. So his brother clearly either has eyes through surveillance or he's on site as well.
I think there's obviously like a betting booth around here somewhere for the race tomorrow.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
Yeah. So I like giggling, a little tipsy, drag him over to the betting booth. And I say, Strauss, right? That's what you said, Strauss.
Oh yeah, Strauss. That's where you want to go.
And I'll lean in, and as I'm speaking to the bookie, I just tap the comms open for a moment, and I say, 2 creds on Strauss. My man says he's gonna win.
And I think I want to cut from there over to Forte. Forte, you know that Annalise has arrived on scene. You know that Wraith is going to be interacting with the pilots here. You've got some IDs on some of the high rollers, and you see Vic doing what Vic does best, but perhaps a little reluctantly.
Really? And then I hear the two creds on Strauss. Yeah, I'm like, oh, she's good. But my stomach feels a little woozy. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, Forte is sort of playing this like this is her night out, and she's going to have a good time, and so she's risky things, but not like Vic is. She's not over the top, but she wants to say hi to all the racers, and you know, and just like how should we say, her behavior shouldn't be all that surprising. I think that you get the thing is Forte is actually really good, like socially, like dancing and talking to people. So when she wants to be.
So do you think you want to, move wise, are you trying to like read info or setting something
essentially it's mostly probably probe. And the thing is or no, probably analyze, trying to figure out who's what. And I think she's going to check the other pilots. Are all of them here?
Yeah.
So is there that Dritz Stark guy?
Is there that what?
The pilot named Dritz Stark at the Ark?
Yes, Dritz the Ark.
Okay.
He is piloting the Twin Blade.
Ooh, that sounds cool. What is his group of people around him seem like?
He has some people around him, but he's clearly pretty youthful. Like he's a young hotshot.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what kind of read do I get off of the other pilots about him?
Let us say that there's not a particular level of people being impressed with Dritz the Ark.
Really? Right. I think I will check out Dritz the Ark.
Okay. Let's have you make a probe roll for me here.
Okay. Is it probe or is it? Yeah.
You were doing analyzing the situation. So yeah, let's have you do that.
Which is the thing is, it's weird. It says that I can analyze a person like they're an area with analyze, which is why I can.
So you roll analyze, and then you get to ask the probe or they analyze questions of them.
All right. So I think Dritz is a little bit pitiful, and I don't know if
the other advantage I just want to note, because you're doing analyze, you actually get +1 forward on a follow-up move, which you don't get with probe.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So I think that he's a little like, maybe, I don't know, he's a little bit, I wonder. So I guess sad maybe for him.
Let's have you
he's
roll.
Either trying or this is like the best thing. So,
mark sad and roll.
All right, so I'm rolling 2d6 and I'm adding 2. I've been rolling remarkably. I got 9 plus 2 is 11.
11. Okay. So you get, I think from that, 3 hold.
Okay. Let's see here. So I'm looking at enemy or analyze.
Go over and talk to Dritz.
I'm going to go talk to Dritz. And I'm going to talk to Dritz to figure out Dritz, but
he's really excited to talk to you.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm, and
I had these ears biomorph for me.
Really? And she looks at them. She's like super interested. She goes, I was getting some biomorphing done.
You can, they're sweet ears. They cost a bunch of crad.
So are you a big fan of the classics?
Yeah.
Great. So I really want to ask because it's going to get worse before it gets better.
You have 3 hold to ask your questions. Because he could talk about his stuff all night.
I know. Let's see here. I guess, what if anything appears out of place here? I mean,
what if anything appears out of place? This guy is, he's hopped up and young and youthful, but boy, does he watch his coverage of the room.
Really?
Yeah. Like you're talking to him, and you have the sense that he probably knows exactly where the exits are, exactly who's where, that kind of thing. Like he's definitely got that move and that beat to him, even though he's clearly just a little snot-nosed punk.
Okay. So
2 more hold.
Yeah. What's my enemy's true position?
Well, he's definitely the pilot. That's you can get absolute like you're watching him, you're watching how it looks at the other pilots, how he does things. Yeah, this is the guy who's going to be in the race and is going to try and do a bump and run on Cry Havoc or whoever else is in the lead.
All right. And how is he vulnerable to me?
You bet that a lot of what makes him good is he's got a lot of those clipped memories, maybe even some non-cut, like some hardcore things. And with the work that Annalise has done, you may be able to suss that out and clip a little more carefully.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sure.
And you have +1 forward.
Oh, thank you.
Let's do Wraith, and then we'll do Annalise. Does that sound good? Wraith. And again, imagine you've gotten the info from the others on this when you're doing what you're doing. Chakra Maui comes over and is, very glad to see you, invite you in. He will have you come up. They get all 5 of the pilots together. They do a little, presentation thing. You can see the little numbers on the gambling go up and down and the betting and stuff. And then they kind of want you to cut a promo, which I assume you do.
I certainly will, and it'll be along the lines of, I come here because I heard the competition was very good. Clearly, not as good as me. But I anticipate that they're going to put a good showing on. And, just keep in mind, if you're not the lead dog, you never changes.
You will get Driss d'Arc is out there, and he's like wired up, and he's talking about, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna do these things. Baba Yun comes out. He's pretty serious about what he's doing, but he knows the biz, so he follows through. Yamamaru is clearly kind of playing up the dark, dangerous, actual, really sinister sort of angle for her. And then when they come to Strauss to cut a promo, he's just like, no. And then, goes back to what he was doing. He does not take off that helmet.
Okay.
So yeah, you there's some interactions going back and forth, that kind of thing. What do you want to do?
I do a bit of pressing the flesh with the hoi polloi and the betters.
You'll definitely meet Wagerman, and you will meet the Dame Solito, and the Primus Kolonov.
I'll be suitably kind of arrogant about my abilities, but at the same time pretty personable. I'm not going to be nasty or try to put some grim face on it. Just lots of confidence. But meet with and talk with them.
You see that Yamamaru, she clearly comes over and she goes, that's your ship in Berth 8? The Cry Havoc?
That's my girl.
And she steps away in that way that tells you that she's clearly seen the Cry Havoc before.
I have a little rep out there.
You would think that, but after she sees that, you see that she keeps her distance from you.
Oh, we can't have that. So I think as she starts to step away, I'm just going to kind of fall into step beside her. I noticed your ship, beautiful, absolutely beautiful craft.
The Night Thief can hold his own.
You been in these races here before?
I've raced in this system before.
Get you a drink?
No, I don't like to drink the night before.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's probably wise.
Yeah, old naval training.
Indeed. I wouldn't have guessed you for the services. Huh? God, I'd have hated to pin that myself.
Fighter pilot.
Those hot shots. Not like us out in the lanes, but how long ago was it?
A while.
Well, good luck to you.
And she nods. She's very clearly wary of you.
And she isn't the one with the helmet on all
Nope.
the time.
Nope.
But I don't recognize her.
No.
Is she eating?
Yeah, she will eat a little, but she keeps like before she was a little more active and personable, but like after she like gets a sight of your ship, like her attitude, like she gets much more restrained.
All right, I'll move away and circulate, but I'm gonna try and keep a bit of an eye and see if I notice when she puts down her plate or her utensil.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She sets it down and you see her like talk to somebody and they point off to where the Farcoms are, and she heads that way.
I'm going to quietly and subtly move over to wherever she has dropped that off.
Okay.
And I'm going to reach down and touch it casually.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to invoke my things talk or things speak.
Absolutely.
All right. I think I'm afeared.
Let's have you roll with fear. Remember, when you mark fear, you take 1 off of power.
Taking 1 off power. All right. It's rolling straight up. Okay. It's an 8. That's not too bad. So I get to ask 2.
Okay. So this is about essentially the plate and utensil that she had left there.
Mm-hmm. Hoping for something a little deeper than the name given. Who handled this before me?
Someone who knows space, who is a pilot, and who runs with a dangerous crowd.
What strong emotions recently have been near this?
Fear.
Ooh, interesting.
You get a flash of like a space battle, and you see ships on fire, and you see the Cry Havoc tearing through.
Do I remember this battle?
No, not really.
And this was very casual, quick, and moving on from
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm going to drop into the comms. I'm not sure if it's me or Havoc. But what's her name again?
Her name is Yamamaru.
But Yamamaru has made. She's made us. She recognizes us.
What?
She's scared. I think Havoc blew up some ships around her.
Oh, okay, so your deep dark past.
Possibly.
I'm cool with that.
And there is that big gap that you have in your memory.
Oh yeah. Heh. And that's kind of, that's distracted me a bit, as I'll probably be a bit more sober, and it may be a good time for me to go and walk the berths, get a look at these ships.
Okay.
So I'll kind of exit the party.
Annalise, what do you want to do? You get that heads up.
So I think I'm going to keep track of people as they come and they go. I get the heads up. If no one leaves, I think I'm going to size up the guards that are out here guarding the party and the hanger-ons, the people who didn't get invited to the party, but kind of wanted to talk to the bigwigs.
Sure. Let's have you make a kind of a probe roll.
Okay.
Does that seem good?
Yeah. And I think this is going to be a little bit sad. Just because, these people really wanted to be a part of the show and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's flat. And I rolled a 5.
You rolled a 5. So the good news is you get to mark XP. Let's see here. Let me look at something here. I think that this is the first time you've come down there, and you're looking around, and there's a big crowd of people, and you're kind of looking for stuff, and you see Dame Sosito for the first time. Has some people with her, stuff like that. And like your heart catches in your throat. And what is the flashback you have of her involved in your whole processing?
So I think that, one of the things that we described early on was an idyllic field of grass. And there was a Labrador puppy who was bounding up to get my attention. And I think that's just a memory that's very vague that I have. And whenever I look up, I see the dame, this woman coming towards me, and reaching down and kind of petting the puppy, and then putting an arm around me like she knows who I am, and we're familiar with each other, but I don't know who this is. And then later on, I see her, like it's dark, and she's in, a ground vehicle, and she's leaving, she's driving away. And I feel just this heart wrench, like something's been taken away from me. So it's more feelings than direct situations.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that she's tied into your imprinting.
Yeah,
she's tied into that, but you can't tell the exact nature of that. So you're going to take a what's called humanity harm, which, let me look at that. Have they get the mechanic on that again?
And I think I can tell from this is a real memory, not an implanted memory.
Yeah. Does somebody have a thing with the humanity harm? I don't have my reference sheet with that.
Yes. Let's see. This is for what's your playbook?
The linker.
For yours, loses time, minutes, hours, a day or two, triggers the flashback move using the previous move's results when applicable, add an emotion spike to an appropriate state, or take disadvantage forward.
So you get to pick one of those things.
So let's see. It takes a long time. Spike an emotion.
You could
trigger a flashback or take a disadvantage.
What's trigger a flashback?
So when you have a flashback now or during another move, you take the highest die from your roll.
Yes.
And subtract it by the lowest one to get that number. And then you're going to add that many spikes to whatever state you rolled with.
Okay.
And one presumes you have a flashback, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, if you don't mind, I'm going to combine a couple of those.
Sure.
I think I'm supposed to be out here kind of keeping watch and being, here if anyone needs me. And I think that, I'm in the middle of talking to someone and I catch sight of Dame Sosito and kind of freeze. And the person I'm talking to kind of says, cheap wares. I mean, these things happen all the time. They kind of wander off, and I'm kind of frozen like a statue. And I'm going to take the flashback portion of this. So if I subtract the 2 dice, that's a 1. I rolled a 2 and a 3. So
what state did you roll with?
I rolled with sad.
Okay. So add an extra one dot to the sad.
Okay. And I think what's going on here, the flashback that I actually see is I think I see more about whenever she was driving away.
And I think there's a voice in your head that is saying, no, I don't care about her. I just need a hound. Make her a hound. That's all I need. Everything else can go.
That's right.
That work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Let's take 5 and then we'll come back. I'm gonna grab myself another soda. So Jimmy is enjoying this evening, but there you do the sense like at some point during the thing that Jimmy is clearly like checking his watch, like he needs to wrap this up because he's got some other things to do.
And I sort of agree with him. We've been playing this all way too safe. So I think Vic sort of putting on a little drunkenness, sort of giggles as she leans in and whispers to him, it's so crowded in here. Is there somewhere a little quieter we could go to?
And it is all of your mirror effect. It's everything that you've built up you can tell that he needs to be moving on to whatever sort of, be doing some prep and things like that. But he's like,
Does anyone ever tell you you have really nice arms? She says as she feels his bicep.
yeah, we could go back to my suite.
That sounds private.
Yeah, I just gotta put a sock on the doorknob,
Trying real hard not to let that phase the expression.
Okay. And yeah, he could see the better angels, and then he's like, "Yep, let's go."
And yeah, I think when they get there, like Vic is sort of exploring falling into this role that she's playing, and there's, we're not going to go all the way to full on
Right.
sex or whatever, but there is the hot makeouts. And
you're pleased he at least has spent the money to do the biomod. So I mean, he looks good when we get the long lingering shot of him taking off his shirt.
And I think I want to, as we're making out there, push into my special move.
Ooh, what do you want to ask them?
I want to ask them the following. Just pull back for a second and sort of sigh against the side of his neck and say, I don't know. You just seem like someone who's got so much going on for you. Tell me, what's your greatest hope? What do you do to follow that?
Oh, my brothers were looking for the big score. We're getting there. We're putting together the pieces, and one of these days we're gonna hit it. We know.
You seem like you're on that track. And I think part of her falling into this scenario and not thinking through all her angles like she should be is, I'm gonna let him ask one back because I don't have to, and I shouldn't.
What is it? What is your hope? What do you want right now? Kind of comes out alien to him. It's like the reciprocating questions and empathy is not really his forte, but you kind of built that a little bit of that for him.
I want to find that person, that one that sets you on fire, that lights up every cell in your body. That's what I'm looking for.
And he thinks you're talking about him, and he both smiles, but he's also clearly like commitment kind of thing going through his head.
And I don't know, he may think it really, really is him, as she does at least come back to herself enough to know that she doesn't really feel anything for this guy. She's getting lost in this moment. And I think her skin starts to flush and then almost seems to catch the light and then definitely seems to glow. As I think maybe I'd like to try combining some moves here.
Sure.
Can I combine a reflection with a catalyze? As I'm changing and I want to, become Jimmy, but in the process, I think her skin, just the brightness in it raises and glows until it's this blinding flash that disorients him as she changes.
So you want to read that as neutralize, or you want to read that as divert for the second half of that?
I was thinking it would be catalyze for the second half. Catalyze and mirror or reflection.
Oh, she's
To like
pushing past
change,
her
but
human
also
limit.
but also push my changing to do this thing.
Okay, but what's the end effect that you want to have happen to him off of that catalyze?
I want him to be like blinded and distracted enough that I can like punch him out, even though I'm not very good at fighting or whatever.
Let's have you roll.
Okay. She's pulling herself out of it, but she's still well into it. So I think this is joy. This is excitement. I mean, when he's not talking, he's pretty cute. Ooh, wow. That's a 13.
That is a 13. So there is that moment when he gets a little bit of like the visual purple on his eye enhancements adjusts, and he like clearly is that moment where he's like, did I move? Am I staring into a mirror? And then what is the object that you bring down on his head?
We have to make it fully dramatic. There's this like vase of flowers on a table by the bed, and I just smash it, like shattering into his head.
Oh yeah, and you crack him across the head, and he falls back onto the water bed and just kind of unconscious.
And as the glow dies down, she's there. She's this like perfect down to the pore and every mannerism copy of Jimmy. It doesn't do any physical or mental harm. But I'm curious, what sort of enhancements did he possess that I pick up now? Is it like, I don't know, that internal kinesthetic sense of like, what's going on inside me now?
Dedicated private link, encrypted. He's got some built-in security hacking programs. He's got a set of skill things. He's clearly a backup pilot in case something goes wrong. And probably a little like some visual stuff and some other basic kind of things like that.
Nice. And I think Jimmy Vick, he like takes a moment to gather up Jimmy and like lay him down in the bed, and he's got this like concerned sort of furrow to his brow as he's wiping a little blood off of Jimmy's head, and then just gives him like a light kiss on the forehead as he leaves the room to go out and rejoin the party.
I thought for sure you were going to say, "How you doing?"
Oh, even wearing Jimmy's skin has more class than that.
So I assume you like secure him and maybe Faraday cage so that he can't use comms or anything.
Ooh, that sounds clever. Yeah. Is there something
I think here's the thing. You've got you have a construct, so you know how these digital lobbies work. So I assume that if you take a little bit of time, you can make it so he can't communicate on his comms back to his brothers after this.
I think I like set up this sort of half lobby that just keeps pulling all of his senses and his perceptions into it rather than letting him interact with the real world.
Okay. Yeah. So you have him locked down right now. Let's come back to Forte. Vic has vanished. Mm-hmm. Wraith has been a little bit thrown off, and he's going to go look at the ships. Yeah. Annalise had a little incident there.
Yeah. Wait, do I know that?
You're connected up together, so I assume there would be a bit where you like Annalise kind of drops off from the signal.
I'll do a check. I'm like,
you can see across the room, you see Annalise kind of standing there, kind of stock still.
Oh, um, I think I'll go over to her. I've been going around. I'm very chatty, and I'll walk up to her and show her my tickets, and like I'm having a conversation, and then I will do what I do to wake Annalise up.
What's it like when you come out of this, Annalise?
I think there's a little bit of so. I think whenever you kind of wake me up, it's like you're waking up from a dream that you don't want to wake up from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of reach out past you and I'm like, no, grabbing for something and then it's like gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I look at you and I'm feeling angry. I'm like, why did that happen? And then it's like, oh, that's right. It's the past. It's not here now. And I look at you, Forte, and I say, did something happen?
What I saw is nothing was happening. Are you okay?
I saw something very important to me, and I didn't realize how important it was. But now that I know, this job is very important to me now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So Dritz is our pilot. And
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy is the scout.
Yeah.
And there's just someone out there in the asteroid belt that's waiting to do the jump. So I think we're following up on that. I don't know. As I understand it, Strauss is the one that maybe they think is going to win.
And what do you know about, Primus Kolonov and Dame Sosito?
They're just betters. Do you think they're involved in this somehow?
I think, we cut to this shot of Annalise longingly kind of looks over her shoulder at Dame Sosito and says, no, they're not involved in this.
Okay. Well, listen, you got like one of the good food tickets too, didn't you?
I did not.
You did. I'm sure.
From Frau.
Yeah, from the
yes.
Frau.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, so we need to eat really well. This is what we need to do because we're going to have a crazy, crazy time. And she goes, and she'll grab you by the wrist.
Uh-huh.
And take you over to not the most obvious thing, but it's like she's like being nice to a stranger, but she'll sit you down and she'll go and get you a plate of food. And then if you don't like it, she'll move it over to her plate to eat it. But she's like being like one of those nice people that's helping someone out, and then she sits down with you and she's kind of watching people and talking to you. So if you want to talk about things, she's there for you.
And I think that this is a good time. So I think what I'm going to do is, what can I do? So I think I'm completely distracted from our mission. And I'd like to roll a probe against. I'm gonna watch Dame Sosito.
Okay.
And see what I can get from her interactions with her people. And I think while I'm doing this, I'm talking to Forte, and I think I'm talking about things that I shouldn't, that are much more personal. So I think what that would be is me. I'm normally very reserved, but I think what this would be is me being a little bit more.
Is it an intimacy move?
Yeah, more honest. So I'd like to take my intimacy move, which is either a couple of questions from the probe move or a couple of questions from the analyze move between the two of us.
Perfect. Let's resolve that.
Okay. So do we want to do the intimacy move first?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah. And I think the way this actually looks on screen is Annalise actually leans forward, but is looking past you, Forte, and says, No, she's let her hair grow out now, and it didn't used to be that short. And I can't believe she's here. And I don't know why I care so much. I can't remember. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Do you have let's see. The other person chooses whether this is questions from the probe move or questions from the analyze move. Yeah.
Let's see here. How about, both of those are really good for me. Let's do analyze, because I think you're trying to figure out what the situation is.
Okay.
So if that makes any sense. I mean, so
why don't you ask a question then?
okay, I will start.
I think you get 2.
Oh,
1 or 2.
1 or
Yeah.
2.
okay.
And it says to be a little bit generous. This isn't a place or a situation. This is my emotional state or something like that. Yeah.
So I think it's, what if anything appears out of place with the memories? What seems wrong or manufactured or?
Yeah. In a real memory, you don't have other people observing you. And in this case, there is someone observing my memory or the two of us as I'm trying to kind of pick it apart.
Okay.
Just to go back to it, there's a voice that Lolan mentioned before that was like, we need a hound. You can wipe everything else. We just need a hound. And I think it's, you sense that observer.
And so I think that when she does that, so the follow-up question is, which enemy is the biggest threat? Is it the observer or essentially?
Are you concerned about a threat to the plan or a threat overall or a threat to Annalise?
A threat to Annalise, because if you were manufactured as a hound, someone thinks they own you.
True, but I think the biggest threat here is Dame Cecido, because Annalise has lost it, right? So, right. And it's over the Dame herself. So there's a lot of power that the Dame has over Annalise.
If she remembers.
If she can remember, even if she doesn't.
Yeah. The Dame is the one who said that. So
yeah.
There's
so
something about her past connection.
Oh. So the Dame was the one who said she just wanted you for a hound, even though that's not how you felt about the Dame. Oh, that's horrible.
Okay, so here's a good one. So I get to ask you 1 or 2 questions from the same list. Is it going to get worse before it gets better?
So is this how she feels about your situation or about her situation with you?
Whatever you'd like to answer.
I think there's that point when you're talking about the hound and Dame and there being an observer, and it takes you a while to realize that it was the Dame that said that. And there's the whole thing with the hound and the golden retriever, and she's going, okay, this is layered. Someone has put those pieces on there. You've got the hound and the dog and the Dame and the observer, and saying, and so I think she goes, someone's written over something that really happened. And she's like going, I think to her, yes, she goes, it's going to be worse before it gets better. Because,
and I think,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think she'll say, when we get back to the ship, we'll go take a look at that, okay?
And I think Annalise is, no, this is real. This is different from all the others, right? This isn't implanted, this is real.
Yeah, and I think when you see that, you kind of see like the implants on her hand are kind of like, you know, they don't spark, but they're kind of raised. And you know that what she means when he goes, we'll take a look at that what she's talking about with taking a look at it. Not clipping, but that sort of deep analysis.
And I think that actually would be my second question, which I think you've kind of answered, is what's the best way past? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, we'll look for the truth.
Good.
I hope.
You're on mute.
We cut to Wraith on the upside. And, you know, there are the different berths for the ships. And you're checking them out.
Yeah, I think I was really, you know, in my beginning, I was thinking, oh, I'll walk through them and really give them the look over. But having had that encounter, I'm almost distracted as I'm kind of passing them by and looking at them. But I will greet each one of them with their name as I pass, not trying to link.
Sure.
But will, you know, hello to each of them.
The Boomheart, that's Baba Yun's ship, is cold. It's a for-hire ship. It's brought in, you know, people have paid money and are sponsoring Baba to do this. They put together a ship for him. It's good, but you know, it's bought. It's not handmade. It's not hand tooled. The Night Thief, Yamamaru ship, is pretty wicked. It's pretty well armed. It's pretty, you know, hot Top Gun kind of thing. Now, keep in mind that these ships are like your classes of ships. So these are
these
big
ain't
ships,
small ships. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can smell the fire and laser on it, and it's a ship that's been in combat.
Even in my distraction, I'll stop a moment and give a kind of a praising nod.
The one that is closest to Cry is Strauss's ship, the Ariadne. It's a well-made ship. It's a well-maintained ship. It's somebody who puts and invests in their vessel. And there's that bit where when you go to kind of like reach out to it, where it's got enough animation that it kind of pulls back.
Yeah, and I'm not attempting to link.
No, I know, but
yeah.
you do kind of like at least reach out to get the feel of it. Yeah, and it kind of pulls back, but that's a well-made ship. You maybe get a little nauseous when you get to the Twin Blade, to Drist's ship, because it's got a beautiful skin on the outside, but is it a Frankenstein monstrosity made up of the stolen organs from a dozen different vessels, systems and pieces and stuff. It hides its scars, but it is a nasty piece of work.
And Forte has let me know that that's who they believe is the brother's ship.
Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing. And I'll, you know, having given them the look over, head into Cry. And just, you know, walk straight through and right up to the cockpit, which I imagine has a, you know, I probably sleep there easily half my time.
Yeah.
As I just kind of off into my chair. It's got the kind of sag and move as I get into it. And I open up and lean into to Cry. Cry, I saw something. I need to access your memory on what is this? And I'll open up what I saw of that fight, and I'm gonna lean on her. I'll spend my obligation.
says, do you really want to know? Once you know, you don't go back.
We don't keep secrets from each other. Let me know.
And I think we get a flash. It's not the full thing. There's the like Cry is keeping the rest, but you see yourself there busting through a naval blockade. And you see yourself there. There are some of these other ships in Cry's class. And they're kind of being transported, and there's a fleet there, and you just start ripping through them. Cry doesn't have these kind of armaments anymore. You don't even know what's going on with that. She was armed to the teeth, and you will see there is this moment when another ship of Cry's like class comes in to intercept, and Cry hesitates, but then rips it apart. And you are going, no, don't.
We have someone here who remembers us, Cry.
There aren't that many.
And I don't think she's ready to forgive. Let's sleep on it. And I'll kind of lean back.
And Cry says, I told you before, and you don't remember this. I told you before that you're in command from this point forward.
Well,
I owe you that.
Well, and from here on, it'll be on me. Let's dream, honey. And as I go to sleep, I would like to roll a confluence with her.
Okay.
I think this is sad.
That does feel a little regretful.
And I, each. Well, let's see. I can spend something here. Well, I don't think I have enough to spend. I have one that I can spend on the ship. Oh, well. So it's a fail, so I'm going to get one hold.
Okay. And I think we cut to a figure getting off of comms. It turns and it looks at some other people in the room. That was a call from Jukebox. Ransom still alive. Saddle up. Does that feel like a good play out of that?
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to stop there. I feel like this is our end moment here for this. Let's check XP. And we'll be very broadly interpretive of those things. Wraith, I think that we hit 2 of your things tonight.
I think so.
Yeah, so 2 XP for you.
Thank you.
Forte, how do you feel about what you had? You are muted.
And also, don't forget the conditioning can give you XP too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
At the end of the session, if you've fulfilled your conditioning, mark XP.
Yeah.
I think I explored the unexplored regardless of danger.
Yeah, because you were warned, so I'll give you a point for that.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Patrick.
Sure.
I think why is completing the job so important to Forte? I think it's because that's what the group needs from her. They are not the most task-oriented group of people. So I will get that that's her role, is maybe trying to herd cats. How about that?
Yeah, so you get a point for that. What's your, did we hit either of your other two questions?
Running from or seeking the water. That's a little metaphorical. It's like is she trying to find her past? So I wouldn't say no. We probably glanced off of that with Annalise's.
Let's give you a point for that.
Okay, I'll take it because I could use the points. And then what do I know about the veil that others don't seem to tag into? This time I didn't use that at all.
Okay.
So though I was thinking about it, and I would have used that with the thing is, I assume that when the ships are in the sky, they have their own veils with them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So that would be a thing but that was actually like my next move was going to go and get a feel for Drist's veil, if that makes any sense.
What about your conditioning?
My conditioning, let's see here.
I didn't
prioritize the mission over anyone at this point.
Yeah,
I didn't feel I
but
had to.
neither did you go the other direction. So I don't think
No.
there's any XP for either of those.
Right.
But you get the 2 XP for the questions.
Okay, I'll take it. Thank you.
I marked in 1 for your special hold. Don't forget you have that for the operation.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Vic, what about you?
Let's see. Questions. We didn't suffer across an AI, so I didn't get a chance to dig into that, but that's okay. It's sort of an esoteric corner. What does it feel like when love is more important than survival?
Oh, yeah, I think we were getting into love and passion there. Yeah.
I think if Jimmy hadn't been Jimmy, like Vic very well may have just like gone totally off mission. And how much do people live or think outside of their imprints? I think that's this whole situation. Her just like delving into this world of people who are doing things that no one was designed for. These are things that they're choosing to invest their passion in. And it's sort of exciting. Like this whole atmosphere has got her bubbling up.
Yeah. So 2 points for that. And then I definitely think we hit your conditioning. So another point for that.
Nice.
And then Annalise.
So my first question is, am I angry with the thieves that are stealing and selling memories? And I don't think we really touched on that for me.
Okay.
The second one is, how many others donated their memories to become me? And I think we hit that.
Yeah.
With the manipulation of memory. And then the third is, once a person is clipped or killed, how do they get reborn in pieces in new personalities? And I don't think we really touched on that, but we might.
Definitely next time. That's in the wind for that. So a point for that.
And then conditioning is treat everything and everyone as transient, or trace a path no other linker has taken. The only thing I could say about that is that a linker would normally focus on the trail, and in this case, I focused on the reality.
Yeah,
the actual memories behind it.
Yeah, I'll give you a point for that.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, let's do quick stars and wishes.
Before we hit out of actual game.
Yeah.
I know it's snowballing in, but I do think I hit layer break.
Layer break.
I think I had an emotional moment with Cry.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm going to drop one fear.
Okay. Surprised you didn't drop one joy, because I think that would have been no.
I think it's one of these things of trusting her and feeling safe.
Interesting.
When we're together.
Oh, I think that's fair. Can I then start with Stars and Wishes with you?
Oh, absolutely. Wow. This was a hell of a good session. Because more than just like a really interesting scenario. I mean, a race is interesting, and we have such a cool place with neat NPCs, which you brought all these neat NPCs to life. I think we saw really neat things out of all of our characters. Patrick, it was so... these were, if this was an episode, us splitting up, this told something about each of these characters. We got real character definition in this episode. And just from each and every one of you, it's impossible to highlight without me being first taking everybody's stars. So it was entirely that this was defining these characters in a way that our previous more sort of adventure was not. So it was excellent. It was very, very cool. And again, you hitting with just those right hard moves, you bringing in all of these characters to make them relevant and hitting us with them, and just neat things. And I will give 1 star out for certain to you, Stephen, of choosing that flashback for that humanity. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. It was so good. So good. Wishes, God, I want to see more. I want to get out there in the ship, do some shippy things. Boy, I guess that's it. That's my big wish. I'm looking forward to the shippy things.
I'm muted. What we'll probably do next time is we'll give a chance at a once around to get set up, and then we'll sprint to the race so we can get into the high octane of that. Stephen.
Yeah. So as far as a wish, I would say we're doing both right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as a wish, part of the thing I'd like to do is I'd like to find a cool move. There's a lot of playbooks out there, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to take next, and where does that go, and where does this character go, and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's probably my wish. As far as stars, this is why I like the Veil. This session right here. The emotional and character development stuff that Tyler mentioned is something that I really only see, it seems familiar to me from previous Veil games that I played in. I really like the fact that we kicked off 3 of the character specials during this game, and they all worked so well. Whenever I saw my special, the Linker special, which is do something from the Prove move or do something from the Analyze move, I was like, I'm not sure. That doesn't seem very special. That doesn't seem like anything any different. But boy, the way that you took that and the interpretation and, Lowell, the way you set that up, boy, it just really paid off. It was really good. So thank you.
Awesome.
And I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that, but it was so
good. It was good. Yeah, it was good stuff. Patrick.
I fucking love this section. I was just breathless the whole time. This was so good. I've had a great week of gaming overall, but this session was just transcendently fun. Stephen, your whole flashback scene and then being willing to just throw your character off the edge and into this turmoil of emotion was so good to watch. Tyler, I love the way that you like developed and pushed your relationship with Cry, especially towards the end there, and the like good meaty story of this violence and like horror from your past. And Sherry, I really felt like I saw some different aspects of Forte. I don't know how you envision her all the time in your mind, but just from that picture, she's sort of covered up, she's sort of like concealed, and to have you go into this party in like the sexy outfit and sort of be out there and in the middle of it. And then again, like linking into that scene with Steven and the intimacy move between the two of you was so good. I love this playbook. I love the emotional Calvin ball that it's leading me into. I just want to follow the nonsense wherever it goes. Wishes I'm looking forward to getting into some trouble in Jimmy's body. That sounds real fun. I'm looking forward to see like how we play through the adventure action of the race. And I am super interested in seeing like how we delve into the clipping and the memory stripping and the identity pieces that's part of this whole attack from them, and like what implications we find out from that, and what like how we dig into more of how this world works. I'm really interested to explore more of that aspect. I just want more and more and more. This was so good.
Nice.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me, and maybe this is where everything was leaning overall. So did you take over Jimmy, and now your part is going to be on the other ship? Like,
I don't know where Jimmy's supposed to go. Like, okay. I'm definitely going to be playing him, and if they tell me that I'm supposed to go somewhere, or if I figure out where I'm supposed to, like, I'll go there. Yeah, I'll get on a ship. I'll be involved in the raid. Let's see what happens.
Whenever you mentioned you were going to play Jimmy, something clicked in my head, and I was like, ooh, does that mean that, we're on Cry Havoc and you're on their ship, and we've kind of got a plant, but nobody knows it, and we have to see about getting you off, but it's just all sorts of weird stuff. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that would be really interesting if I had to do like a deep infiltration sort of thing, or be involved in the wrong side of stuff.
Excellent. Well, we'll come back on that. Sherry.
Yeah, you're all right. It was awesome. The Veil does this super well, and you always end up with characters that that you love being in scenes with, that you love playing, and this is what it does, and I don't know why, because it doesn't give you a lot of direction. It just gives you questions and this sort of space and the most basic of basic moves, and then some weird stuff. So there's a few weird things, and that seems to work really well. It is definitely worked tonight. I'm looking forward to more of this. I think foray with us as we're getting further along, taking those more certain strides with our characters will be super fun. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. I had a great time. I loved it. It felt like a good evolution. Like we got to see the characters doing the capery stuff, and now we start to drill into the backstories. Now we get why they are the way they are, and we start to explore that, and we develop some new stuff about the world. So very excited. I'm going to stop the recording.